everybody, it's Amy Graham, the Badass Valkyrie, and today I wanted to go over a couple of things that I had been using. Well, actually one thing that I had been using, and then it occurred to me last night that, oh, I haven't really gotten back into this. Because I was looking for some stickers, and I was trying to put in my race days, and I'm like, where did I put my race day stickers? And then I'm like, oh yeah, they're in my Inkwell Press workout planner that when I did my triathlon in November, I kind of just fell off. So I took a break and then just never picked it back up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I should totally be using this. So I set this, obviously there are months in there from November to yesterday that I don't have in there, but I set up March so that I can go ahead and go forward with this now that my runs and everything are going to be starting back up, and I'll be starting the Rebel Athena runs again as well, because as of yesterday, I am now an official ambassador for the DC Wonder Woman runs, which are all across the nation. But there's one that's going to be sponsored here in Salt Lake City, and I will have discount codes and things like that. But I am one of their official ambassadors, so I'm very excited about that. You all know how much of a fan that I am of Wonder Woman. This is my television train wreck, also known as October Day Creations. I love her stuff, and I'll probably be moving into this over this next week, probably on Sunday, just because I love me some Wonder Woman. Although I am very excited to see Captain Marvel. Even though I am a huge DC fan, I don't know a lot about Captain Marvel. I never really followed her origin story. It never really stuck out to me, because I was always a Wonder Woman fan. However, I gotta say, this new film looks amazing, and so we're going to see it on either Friday or Saturday, I think. So, sorry, a little bit of tiny little yawn there. It has been a tiresome week, just trying to recover from last week, so. And obviously, the new do. So it starts back here, and then it kind of goes at an angle down and then comes down to the point here. I have yet to master the whole thing. So Aaron, I'm sorry, he's my stylist and he can make it look fabulous, and I'm like, this is as good as it gets right now, because I'm still trying to figure out how to do it. So but I tried curling it. No, this is not a curly style. And this is actually can be a little bit longer. He left it a little bit longer, but I think next time I go in, I'm going to have him cut it, because I want like a little tiny point here, which I call my Spock point, and then have him go over my ear with it, because that's all I do is I just tuck it behind my ear anyway. But it's been raining today, so it normally has a little bit more poof there, but yeah. And the bangs are taking me a little bit to get used to. So, just bear with me. Crazy hair, but I do like it, and Aaron Burt did a tremendous job. He's a great stylist, and I've been with him, oh my gosh, probably 12 years? 10 or 12 years? So, a long, long time. So anyway, I just wanted to let you in on that, and I am going to be starting back up as far as the Rebel Athena's Run Club on Wednesdays here in Salt Lake City, and I will be working, hopefully, with the FanX here in Salt Lake. They're co-sponsoring the Wonder Woman run, and so I'm going to try to do some beginning runs for those Athena athletes, which are, for those of you who don't know, are female athletes that are above 160 pounds, and which I am. Technically, I qualify to be a Clydesdale which the Clydesdale class is male athletes over 200 pounds. So I fluctuate between 220 and 230, and right now at the lower end, thankfully. But I will be doing some beginning running and walking to help some of those beginning athletes go from couch to 5K, so that come September 7th, which is when the Wonder Woman run is here in Salt Lake, they will be prepared to do their first 5K. So, which also means that I am probably going to shift a little bit or continue to add content to the podcast, but it will most likely be more geared towards beginning runners. And because originally I had set it up to talk about entering into this triathlete world, and while it will still be that, because my next triathlon, number 2, is on May 11th. But sorry guys, but I have a 10K in less than 2 weeks. It'll be on the 16th, so next weekend, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after. And then I have on April 13th, I have a half marathon. And then I have the Women of Steel, which kind of goes along with the whole Wonder Woman thing, but it's not associated. But it's the Women of Steel Triathlon. It'll be my first all-female race. I've never done an all-female race. And it's my second pool swim for a triathlon. A little bit freaked out still. But I did have to, in order to do the Wonder Woman run on September 7th, I'm actually having to drop one of my triathlons, which was gonna be on the same day, which was the Brine Man. But I'm okay with that. So I was pushing it anyway because it is the weekend I get back from Dragon Con. So I fly back from Dragon Con on Labor Day. And then I go to work on Tuesday and Wednesday. Then on Thursday, Fan X starts. And then on that Saturday is the Wonder Woman run. So that'll be my 10K for that quarter. I'm running a 10K quarter. So the one next weekend is going to be my first quarter 10K. Then I'll have one for second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, which is one of my goals. So, yeah. So things are adjusting a little bit, but I'm still on track for my first ocean swim triathlon in November, but that's November 3rd in Morro Bay in California. If all else fails, I can like paddleboard it or canoe it, which to me is kind of crazy, but here's hoping that I will be ready to do my first ocean swim. But I also want to help women men and women, especially plus size athletes that are just starting out and trying to figure out how to do this. And so I will be adding to the podcast, and it will actually help me add content. And it's content that I know very much about because I did it. I mean, I went from over 450 pounds to this, so I've lost over half of me. And I've done that being an extreme athlete, being a fighter, being a runner, and I never, ever, ever would have guessed that I was going to be a runner. Ever. But the other kind of weird, like, little pieces of Amy info that I got this week is I got my 23andMe assessment. I don't know what you would actually call it, profile back. And it actually did confirm exactly what Ancestry said, although you get much more information from 23andMe, and I did the health scan, thankfully, to whatever is above. I do not have any of their markers, and but there were a couple of funny things that are totally me, and I thought you guys would get a kick out of it. It's one, with my muscle composition, it says you are your muscle type is in common with elite power athletes, which I'm like, woohoo! Which, carrying so much weight for so long in my life. I mean, I've never been thin. It kind of makes sense, but it also said you are most likely to consume more caffeine than the average person. And I'm like, yep, that would be me too. The only downsides that it gave me were that I have a slight increase for AMD, which is the macular degeneration disease, and celiac disease, which I have a slight possibility of becoming, which we already knew that I have a gluten sensitivity, but I'm not intolerant. And also I have a more likelihood of developing liver disease, which we already know that. So I have NASH syndrome, which is what heavy people do with fat. It's the same as alcoholics do with alcohol, fat people do with fat. And as I lost weight, my liver lost weight, but it still has scarring and all of that, and I always have to be careful. I bruise very easily, but that will always be with me. So it just cleared up a lot of things that I had no idea about, and I was really concerned about the breast cancer markers and all of that, but I have none of the markers that they test for. And if they start doing different tests and new tests, they'll let me know if I have that marker or not. But it did give me a lot of information that I did not have as an adoptee. And even though I know my mother's side somewhat, I have absolutely no idea about my father's side. And so it gave me a lot of insight and information about me. And that's pretty powerful for somebody has spent their entire life not knowing who they are. So, but I do highly recommend it. I got so much more information from 23andMe that, you know, that's the one that I would go for. I did the $200 test. So it gave me a lot of the health things and all of that. It also told me that I most likely have taste bitterness with broccoli and Brussels sprouts and that. And I'm like, they aren't? Because they've always been bitter. Even though I don't mind broccoli, it's bitter to me, as is Brussels sprouts. And I'm just like, ugh. But I do not have the cilantro gene. So the ones that make cilantro taste like soap. And for the longest time I was like, dude, just eat the damn cilantro. But evidently there are genes out there that make you think that the cilantro tastes like soap. And my husband has that gene, and I love cilantro. He does not. So I've learned to not cook with it, but oh man, guacamole with cilantro. Oh, I love it. So anyway, I'm a huge Mexican food fan anyway, so yeah. Just like pile it all on. I'm good with that. So anyway, tangent. But I want to go ahead and show you how I've got this set up, and then we'll go ahead and flip this bad boy around and walk you through. I'll be right back. Okay, so what I have been tracking my workouts in has just been in here in my meal tracking, and when I did a workout or whatever, I would just write it over here in my activity. But previously, I had actually set this up for my workouts. And so I would put in my walks when I would train and all of this, use these stickers. And I was like, I know I have these stickers. I don't know where they are. And then I found this and I'm like, oh yeah, that's where I was doing all of that. So I tracked everything in here and I loved it. And when I had my triathlon, then I kind of just stopped. Because I did take November off just to kind of give my body a rest, because I had been pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. But then nothing in December, nothing in January, nothing in February. But ta-da! March. So and these were the actual stickers that I was looking for when I remembered this. And so I haven't put tonight's in, but these are my goals for March. And I've added in a lot of the goals that were in my Hobonichi, which they stay there. But this is just an additional way to track my fitness goals. And so that's really all this is. When I do a run, when I do a bike, when I do a swim. And I'm hoping, like I said, to start my Rebel Athena runs in the park on March 20th and help with new runners and walkers with their training. I actually get two entries into the Salt Lake City Wonder Woman race, which I will give one of my entries away. And yesterday was Lent. And even though I'm not Catholic or really religious, I am giving up excuses for Lent. So there you go. But I've done I've done 3 runs this week, but I will just be adding it in. My next race day is Saturday 3/16, and it's the Lucky 13 10K. And so I will be tracking that all in here, writing these down. And then I've put in my April 13th. That's my half marathon, the Salt Lake City half marathon. And then in May, the Women of Steel triathlon right there. And this goes all the way up through to June. And it is the Inkwell press. And I really do like the way this was set up in the beginning. So first off, you have the month at a glance, which is where I write down everything and I put in my stickers. And you can kind of see that, how I did that back in, let's just do, yeah, you can see how I would put in when I was swimming, when I was running, and putting those in when I would run with Saki. So, and the stickers that I'm using are the Planner Kate stickers, which I freaking love. So these are just the Stickerpotamus. I think I picked these up at Michael's, and they're just little paw prints. And so when it's warmer, I occasionally take Saki out on a run with me because she is a little chunky monkey, little Yorkie. But I have such a small gait for my running. She just kind of goes with me and loves it. And then when I do a run, I have my little sneaker there. And these are her, the minis. And it's I546. But these work really well in my weeks as well. And then for my bike rides, I do S221. And then for my swims, I do S222. And they come in all different colors, which I love. And then rest days are part of training. And I got these to remind myself that, yes, even resting is part of your training. And then I wanted to start adding yoga in, doing that. And then my brother gives me triathlon swim lessons, and I put those in. And then when I have race days. So that's where I use these for. And I love these stickers, and it just helps me keep track of everything. And I enjoy, you know, marking off my accomplishments with that. So that is how I am going to be tracking through June, at least, in here. And my goal for the March is to run the 30 miles, restart Rebel Athenas. I want to do 4 biking sessions, 4 swimming sessions, and 4 strength sessions, which I use the TRX here at home. I have one in my basement gym, and which is just opposite of my studio. But I have a TRX, and then I also have, I have a kick bag on a stand, and then I have a full set of kettlebells. I've got a jump box, and then I have the steps. So maybe I'll do a blog and show you guys, or a vlog sometime in the next couple of weeks to show you my gym. But that's what I do either in mornings or late in the evening before I go to bed. I will go in and I'll do some stuff on the TRX, but that is my strength training, and so my fight training as well. So if I'm not outside doing strikes and things like that, then I will do that here. But I don't do nearly as much of that anymore because I am just doing SCA fighting, which a lot of people equate to stick fighting. But it is very aggressive, but not nearly as aggressive as the steel fighting that I was doing. So But I do also want to keep my body in fighting shape. So even though I'll be doing some, probably some tournaments here in the United States again, but now that I'm kind of getting back into things, but that will be a rare occasion. And I believe the next time I'm going to do some steel fighting, if I decide to do it, will be Dragon Con in September. But I am still undecided on whether or not I'll be taking my armor. So we will see. But because after 4 concussions, I have a very real worry with that. So, especially at my age. But there is how I'm going to be tracking it. And then, like, I check this off here, which I love these breakdowns here. And then also you can put your on your mission board, they have health, home, be social, me time, financial, dream big, and then blanks. And you can put the plan, what your focus is. And then over here, you can break it down weekly. And I use these as my runs, my bikes, and my swims. And then up here, I will put any notes specifically that I need. Like, here is where I wrote, my stats for the tri. Going back here. This was in October. Took a new video. I was sick. Had to get my back on track. And I had a huge run of being sick here, so it was not good back then. But any notes or anything about my day or my workout is what I will put in there. But it's all, this planner is specifically workout centric. So, whereas this is more, I was just noting it, and I still have a tracker that I use in my pocket traveler's notebook that stays with me in my handbag that I track all my runs in, and I'm using that for an entire year. But here I would just be, I was just noting it just to note it, and still my steps and all of that kind of thing. And I will still put it in here. I carry this with me every day in Planner Prime, but this stays at my desk, and so I fill this out when I get home from training. So there you have it. But again, this is from the Inkwell Press, and I picked this up at my little shop, MPS, and I got it a really good deal. It's a 2018-2019. It goes from July to June. And while I like this, I probably will just incorporate everything into my Hobonichi and this again. But since I already had this, I'm like, I don't know why I'm not using this. I should just use this. So, I have a few months to determine if I still want to use something like this. And if it is, then I'll get another one. But we'll just kind of see. But otherwise, that is how I'm tracking my workouts. And if you track your workouts separately, let me know down below how you do that, because I would be greatly interested in where you keep your workouts, how detailed do you get about your workouts, all of that. I mean, in various places, I will track how long I ran, what my time was, what my pace was, what the degrees were, if I ran inside or outside, all of that. And that has actually helped me. And part of my goal for 2019 was to increase my pace or decrease my pace, however you want to look at that. And so have a faster pace, let's put it that way, for my runs. So, but let me know how you track your workouts. And if you have suggestions or what you would like to see more of for my workouts, because I am more than happy to share what I do and how I do that. And I will be posting a lot more about my workouts and my training on my Amy Graham page, on my fan page, also on Rebel Athenas as well. But yeah, I am more than happy to share what I'm doing. So I don't actually follow a specific plan just because I know what my body can take. But as most of you have seen in my Jabun Techo, I do have an ideal workout week for me. And it works out very well for me as long as I follow it. I realized also that I was trying to push myself too hard as far as my runs go. And so I'm much more consistent with my running if they're shorter runs but over multiple days, as opposed to a longer run and I only do it 3 or 4 times a week. So if I try to run every day but I only run 2 miles, then that helps me. So I'm much more able to do that. And then on Sundays I do my long training. So anyway, but that's what I'm doing right now, since I found this bad boy again. And if you have used the Inkwell press, I'd love to know that. All right. I hope you guys have a great day and a great weekend, and I will talk to you later.